The 9,421st meeting of the Security Council is called to order. I thank His Excellency President Zelensky for his briefing, and I shall now make a statement in my capacity as the Prime Minister of the Republic of Albania. Mr. Secretary General, Excellencies, Head of State and Governments, distinguished representatives, thank you all for being here today. The presence of such considerable number of dignitaries speaks to the very high importance of the issue at hand. Thank you, Secretary General, for your remarks. They resonate with and reflect the values and principles of our organization. President Zelensky, I'm grateful for your presence here at such a tragic moment in your country's history. Your strong words translate the pain of your compatriots and convey very clearly, together with your firm determination, the grit of your people and the unwavering hope of your nation. Excellencies, while today the world needs more than ever an acute sense of responsibility from all of us to confront the multiple challenges and threats facing our planet, conflicts, unconstitutional seizures of power, climate change, devastating floods and unforgiving droughts, including unpredictable and severe wildfires, what we witness instead is more and more disruptive attitudes, reckless acts, and growing conflictuality within and among states. In many parts of the world, the examples of force have proliferated, while the force of example has become a rarity. Who could have imagined, until not long ago, that in the third decade of the 21st century, a disastrous war, started by a permanent member of this Council, would put Europe at risk by brutally undermining all the principles that gave birth to the United Nations? Who could have imagined, until only a few years ago, that an unjustified, unjust, and unprovoked military aggression of a big country against a new democracy would not be immediately, promptly, and universally condemned by all the nations who gather here and share the same goals and principles? How to understand the yes, buts, or calls on both sides with arguments in order to avoid calling a spade, and which refuse to call a brutal aggression by its only and real name, a man-made tragedy that is inflicting untold suffering to the Ukrainian people, but also reverberating across world regions, hurting growth, raising prices, and threatening with hunger and starvation hundreds of millions of people. An aggression in the heart of Europe cannot be Europe's problem only, as some think, as some say, or as some whisper. Cynics may think that Ukraine is just a problem dropped on the lap of the democratic West to deal with, and they even mumble that what goes around comes around, implying that this is a natural payback for what might have happened before, elsewhere, in other times. Is it? Really? I invite everyone to think twice. This war of aggression must be everyone's business. Let me remind us by paraphrasing the tragic account by Martin Niemöller. First they came for Georgia. I did not speak out. Then they came for Crimea. It was not my country, so I did not speak out. Then they came for the whole Ukraine, but I was not Ukrainian, and I did not speak out. And then they came for me, but there was no one left to help and defend me. As we speak, there have been more than 26,000 civilians that have passed away. Tomorrow the number will be higher. and it will increase every other day for as long as this war continues. Given the inexcusable nuclear saber rattling that keeps coming time and again from different layers of the Kremlin, one is right to fear that one day, God forbid, this madness could turn into something far worse. And don't forget, as unimaginable today as this war was yesterday. Excellencies, we have a duty to help those in need, and in this respect, Ukraine and Ukrainians. We may differ, of course we may differ, on how to support Ukraine in its fight for freedom and dignity. We may have different views on how to end this war. Let's discuss them. But it would be an insult to the intelligence of this organization if we fail to unanimously recognize and say loudly who is the aggressor and who is the aggressed. It is the same sharp difference between war and peace as Tolstoy would remind you. Go back and read him. If we fail to admit this crystal clear truth, we are not only letting down Ukraine and its people, we are failing our core responsibility, compromising the future, and betraying all our children, from Brazil to Spain, from the Arctic to the Southern Pole. The struggle of Ukraine is also the struggle of everyone who aspires to live in a world where nations are free and equal, where territorial integrity is undisputable and their right to live in peace is unquestionable. The contrary is not only short-sighted, but utterly dangerous for everyone under this roof. This is why everyone has to do its part. Albania is a small country. Our continued support to Ukraine may not change the dynamics on the battleground, but it contributes to not rewarding aggression, to not accepting annexation, and not letting the obvious become dubious. And again, I repeat, we may differ on how to deal with this. We may have different views on how to go towards peace. But how possibly we can have different views on who is the aggressor and who is the aggressed? Excellence, le devoir principal.
Excellencies, the main duty of the Security Council is to act decisively on behalf of the entire world and in the service of the world. We can well understand those who are many in number who ask, what is the Security Council doing? The abusive use of the right to veto, sadly, has held the Security Council hostage. It has paralyzed the Council, but it has not reduced it to silence. As we can see, the proof is here in this meeting. The force of rules and values bring us together. They should not be replaced by rules of force and the rejection of values. The world is dangerously tipping into what could become a tragedy for all of us.
Recalling the experience of the Western Balkans, we have seen where the path of brutality can lead to, and the tremendous costs it brings for all, including for the perpetrators. History has confirmed that those who saw war as a shortcut to achieve their goals ended up regretting it forever. Russia has tried many times to use, or better, misuse, the changed reality in the Western Balkans, particularly the birth of the Republic of Kosovo, to justify their neo-imperial dreams and the subsequent nightmare they have exported in Ukraine. No matter how hard one may try, Kosovo, whose independence has been sanctioned by the International Court of Justice, Chapter 14 of this Charter of United Nations, International Court of Justice cannot serve as a pretext for territory grab or illegal annexations. If today a lasting peace in our region is within reach, this has to do first and foremost with the lesson learned that the most efficient way to overcome the past and shape a common future is through cooperation, not through division, by promoting free movement of people, goods, services, capitals, not by raising artificial barriers, by building bridges for our kids to enjoy freedom and prosperity, whatever their language, whatever their race, whatever their nationality, not erecting walls for our ghosts of the past to seek and hide in endless blame games. I'll end with this. The preamble of the United Nations Charter calls on us to practice tolerance and live together in peace with one another as good neighbors. Important decisions are never a matter of chance. They are always a matter of choice. Albania has made its choice to stand for peace, development and progress, to stand with the aggressed, not with the aggressors, to stand with and to stand for Ukraine. Thank you.